Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. I'm excited to introduce our next guest. It's been third time's a charm. That's what they like to say. It's been a little while. We had a little snafu on our end, and then family comes first on his end. So third time's a charm. I am excited to introduce college football national champion, Super Bowl champion, 9-year NFL vet, Brandon JoJo LaFell.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, man. Thanks for coming.
Boy, that's a firm backdrop we got over there. I see you working.
In case you didn't know who I was.
I see you working.
Oh, man. Dude, I appreciate it. We're going to get into it. This week leading into the first football game of the season, right? It's been a lot of anticipation, a lot of practicing in the heat of August. You're probably over it. What goes into this week and leading up into this week, and do you kind of take a step back at practice? Do they kind of like ease into it, or is it, hey, it's going to ramp up because now it's go time?
Man, players' respect. It's that first week where you actually get a chance. You get excited, man. I get to go hit somebody else. I get to go run a route against somebody else because these guys I'm in practice against. They know all my releases. They know all my routes. So I get to go do this against somebody that's not familiar with me at all. And as a team, you kind of like take a step back, but then you gear right back up Tuesdays and Wednesday practices because that's the work days of the week. But man, it turned into fun now. It's no more really hard work days. It's fun days ahead now.
You were at LSU through a coaching change, or
yes.
Like right after a coaching change. You had a whole new regime. You've been through quarterback battles. What goes into that in the mindset of a player, right? Going into a season with one coaching staff, and then next year you have to go in there with a whole new mindset and a whole new different type of, atmosphere and mentality from the other coaching staff that comes in.
It's one of those you have to really clear your head and clear your mind and get ready to every day try to prove over and over again to the new coaching staff. They're gonna recruit their guys. They're gonna have some guys where they came from. Those are their guys, and they're gonna want to play those guys. So I got to prove myself each and every day. And hey, as long as I got a chance, I'm gonna go out here and compete.
As an outsider looking into everything that's kind of going on at LSU right now, what's your take on the state of the program, where they're at, and the direction that it's going right now?
Man, you know how it was when we were there. We always felt like we never reloaded. I think we got a great nucleus of players. It's always the next guy up there, but it's kind of hard to say where these guys can go when you got your quarterback that he leaves the game 2 weeks before the season starts. So that's kind of got me uneasy because we've been planning on this guy to recover and have a full healthy recovery, which he did, and we was planning on this guy to come back in and take this team back to the promised lands where we know we can be a 10+ win team. But when you got a guy that's your field general checks out 2 weeks before the season started, it kind of could put people like me on an uneasy streak because in this game you can't win without a quarterback, and he was going to be a veteran quarterback. But I feel like we got the new number 7. I forget the kid last name, the wide receiver.
Butte.
He's damn good, and he's going to do this thing, and hopefully the young guys around him step up and play some level.
That's my next question. We talk about the quarterbacks, right? Like obviously, Brian Kelly came out and said that, hey, he's made the announcement to the team and to the guys in the locker room, but he's not going to come out there and he's announced it because it's a strategic move on his part, which we were talking about it before the show. It's nice to actually have a coach that has a little strategy behind him than just to go out there and just announce everything that he's going to plan on doing for the next week. How difficult is that from a receiver standpoint of not knowing? I guess you do know, but not really knowing what you're going to get from your starting quarterback and how he's going to perform opening night.
For a wide receiver, it's really not difficult because we always talk. No matter who's throwing the ball, you got to catch it.
Yeah.
So, but you at the same time, you're going to get with certain guys in practice, and you just hope that chemistry. Hopefully, that guy get that job because y'all have built the chemistry all spring ball, all during training camp. So you hoping that guy get the job, but don't care what hope he.
Speak about, so you talk about how it's very true. Like, it doesn't matter who's throwing it. It doesn't matter where it is. If it hits your hands, you got to catch it. But talk about, because there is a difference. Talk about when you're coming out of breaks and there's different quarterbacks throwing the ball. Talk about how different it does look, and it does take you time to kind of get, I guess, acclimated with who's doing it and how it's coming out and things like that.
You was there. We had Parallel. We had Flynn. You know, Flynn. We run the out cuts. We run the 7 balls. Flynn balls floating in. He dropped strong on Luke.
there was one speed. You got one speed. It
No
didn't
touch.
matter.
You better catch it. It's coming in hot.
Yeah, so that's why I say hopefully you can build that chemistry with that quarterback. You know what type of football he's throwing. You know, if I come out the route with Flynn, I got time to make. I get to the top of my route. I got a little bit of time at the top of my route. With Parallel, it wasn't no. Man, I got to come out I cut first. I got to get around. I got to get my head around because if I don't, the ball give him in the head. He's not throwing one that's gonna drop in the basket. He's throwing a dart because man, the dude on. But that's the thing I say. You got to get familiar with your quarterbacks on the spring ball and doing training camp. So when they flip the coin and make that decision, I've been practicing with both guys, and it's go time for me now.
Have you been keeping up a little bit with obviously the landscape of college football and with the recruiting and the transfer portal and obviously the NIL stuff? What are your feelings on that? And obviously, some schools it's not gonna help them. Some schools it's gonna benefit them a lot. I feel like for LSU has benefited them significantly because they had to fill a roster. They got a bunch of transfers. What are your feelings on the portal and the NIL stuff? And do you like where it's heading, or do you think there's got to be a little bit of some changes to it?
I'm all for the players for their likeness and stuff like that. Me and Jared, you guys was at LSU. You know how we won and how national championships on the baseball team, national championships on the football team, and we still broke.
Yeah, I get that.
Now these guys get paid. I'm like, hey man, I'm happy for you. I wish that happened for us. Because a lot of success at LSU, when we go back to campus, we look at these new buildings, all the new facilities that you guys have. We like, man, we built this, and y'all around here winning 10 games. Y'all ain't winning no championships. But that's one of the things that's gonna happen with change, man. But for the NIL, I think for the transfer portal is really hurting like those 3-star, 4-star high school players.
Yep.
It's doing great things for the guys that are in college. But if you're a 3-star guy, it's a lot of teams. And I just recruited this 5-star corner that's at Georgia. He's ready to transfer now. I've been recruiting this guy for the last 3 years. He's been in the college program for a year, so he knows what to do on the college level. I'm not going to take a chance on a 3-star guy when I could just go get a 5-star guy that's just unhappy over here, and I can bring him into my system, and I'm playing him. So that transfer, it's doing great things for that are on, but really hurting the coming in that are not your 5-star, your top 4-star guys.
You played in the NFL under probably the best quarterback in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, and Tom Brady, right? You had Tom was in New England. You played with Cam Newton in New England. You played with some really good, high profile quarterbacks.
Yes.
What goes into the preparation? Like, what makes them who they are outside of obviously the talent level? Because when you get to that level, everybody's talented. There's something different, right? What goes into that preparation, or what goes behind the scenes to make them as good as they are? And did it make you better?
Let me start with Cam. Let me answer the full question. So Cam, what separated Cam was he was the biggest, most athletic, most talented player on the field at all times. Like it was no doubt about it. When we stepped on the field, we knew we had the best player. And on top of that, the talent he had, he worked. He worked his butt off. Cam was in the weight room every day. He was standing out to practice every day. He was the first one out there on the field, going over plays, walking through plays by himself, walking through plays, pulling me, watching film, like that. he was physically and athletically gifted. Everything you want. If you got on your knees and praise to God to be, I want to be 6'5", I want to be 250, I want to have a strong arm, I want to be able to run a 4.4. He gave all that to Cam. He checked all the boxes he made Cam Newton. The guy was he was a freak of nature. But with Tom, on the other hand, Tom wasn't the most athletic guy. By no means, Tom was.
Tell me they played a little
I don't
different
think
football.
I don't think we're gonna argue.
So wait,
with
so
you
that
there.
draft picture's real. Then that's what you really got.
And my first day in New England, we was OTA doing workouts and doing hurdle jumps. When you got 3 or 4 hurdles set up back to back, you just one jump the other, just continue. That was like third in line. Tom was leading the line. He'll jump over one, take 3 or 4 steps, jump over another. I'm looking like, I don't know if it's my first day here. I can't really laugh out loud because these dudes don't know me. I'm killing myself laughing in my head. I'm dying laughing like, what is this dude doing? This can't be the guy for 40-something touchdowns. But when you get in the meeting room and you start to watch and listen to him break down film and break down coverages, and start to call and predict the defense before it happened, you start to feel like, hey, bro, either he watched tape before we got here, or he just didn't see it all, so it ain't nothing gonna surprise him. He'll put on the clip of a defense, and he'll say, we're gonna run this play, that play, that play, and in the back of your head, you looking like, ain't no way in hell we running that. That's not working. It's this. He'd be like, no, well, he can't do this. There's a space right here, so that safety got to come down. And look, they overloading on this side, so if they bring this pressure, this DN got to drop on this. And all he's saying is all this, and you like, come on, man, that's not going to happen. Build a hit play, and everything will happen just the way he said it.
Wow.
And I'd be like, well, we're going to run all that.
Yeah, let's do what he
I'm gonna
said.
be open.
What he said.
Hey, so
But
no, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was going to ask.
But Tom was just smart, knew the game. Wasn't nothing that you throw at him that he didn't see before. He was by far the most accurate guy with the ball in his hands I've ever seen.
That's great. I was going to ask you because I always thought, so just like me and you playing together here, I was always wowed by your ability to move from the X, the Y, the Z, the W, and know the route trees, know the side adjustments, know all those things. As you got to New England and playing with a guy that was that cerebral, did that kind of excite you to kind of elevate your game a little bit to know like, oh man, like I thought I was pretty good at being able to do this stuff on the fly, but he's unbelievable at this.
Definitely, y'all know. Sometimes when you're on the football field or we're on the football field, you be like, man, somebody got to be thinking like I'm thinking. And then when you get a player that's thinking like you thinking, like the game slows down for you even more. And when y'all on the same page, it ain't nothing the defense can do that can stop you. And like you said, Jared, like me being able to play the X, the Y, the W, I played quarterback all the way till I got to LSU. So all the way I knew how to learn the playbook was by learning the whole play.
Yeah.
So that was just installed in me as a youngster. I played quarterback and I played safety. I was always considered a quarterback on offense, a quarterback on defense. So I always learned the whole play. And when I got to LSU, we had all the big dogs in front of us. It was like, man, I cannot set my mind up on learning one spot because Bo not coming out the field. Buster, he might be hurt all week and don't practice, but he playing on.
and he go get 10 plus targets.
He gonna get it. So I gotta learn every spot. So when somebody need a breather, it ain't no looking around for X, ain't no looking around for the F. Man, Joe, go get him. Cool. Yeah. So when I got to New England and we started when I got to New England, we had 2 young guys, 2 second-year guys, Aaron Dobson and Kimbrell Tompkins. Those guys only knew one spot. They only knew the X. So because they got drafted at the battle for the X, they both was. Kimbrell wasn't that big, but he was like 5'10", 6 feet. AD Aaron Dobson was like 6'3", 6'4". So they wanted them to be the X receiver because in New England we had a lot of smaller guys in the slots. So when I got there, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna learn this. But me learning the whole playbook, Whenever they need one, hey, we need an F. Oh, I'm on the field. Before they can turn around and look, I was shooting on the field. And then we did so. I know this time like to do so much no huddle. So if I know the whole playbook, we trying to go no huddle, it's no subbing. I'm just lining up. And he looking at me like, hey, you know what you're doing? Well, I'm here. And we started building that chemistry through OTAs and training camp. So once the season started, it was, man, the game, by the time I was in my third game in that year, the game had slowed down so much because I'm starting to think like how Tom was thinking. I know the spots he wanted me to be. And it just, man, it was like second nature out there.
Hey, are you seeing a lot of like the way the offenses are now and the way football is with more of a passing type of game? Are you seeing receivers now learning those positions more frequently, and that's why they are excelling so quickly and so early in the NFL?
I think that, like you said, the way the offenses are compared to how they was back in the day. Because back in, you got to want to say, in early 2000s, there was a lot of play action to set up the pass, a lot of run to set up the pass. Nowadays, a lot of teams are passing to set up the run. And the issue, what's going on now, those guys are teaching these guys to learn the whole playbook because everybody want to go no huddle. But you get a hiccup sometimes when you got kids coming from certain programs. For example, we had a kid come in when I was in Cincinnati. We had 2 kids come in from Baylor, and we were trying to teach those kids concepts, and it was hard. And we was like, "Hey, man, you guys threw the ball damn like every snap. You had 800 yards, you had 1,100. Like, what y'all?" He was like, "Man, how y'all know these concepts?" "Nah, man, they just told us to route every play." And I was like, "Well, how would they do that?" He was like, "Yeah, we just look at our guys on the sideline, and he'll tell me I'm up, I'm down, or I got my 9, I got my 7, I got my slant. I'm looking at my one coach to give me." We got the quarterback.
Wow.
We got one coach giving us the route. And I'm looking like, we ain't doing that.
That's crazy.
That doesn't
bro.
happen in the NFL.
Ernie Adams
gotta
ain't gonna
learn.
put up with that.
Yeah, you got to learn concepts. And that's why I think it's the thing that these college coaches and NFL coaches do these coaching clinics together. You got some of these coaches from NFL visit the colleges to let these programs know it's okay to win now. But if you want to really have your program built, if you win in there with this guy and you teaching them to play football the right way, and he get to the next level and excel, that's gonna make the younger guys want to go his route. I want to go to Baylor. I want to go to LSU because this guy is playing on national. He's playing on Sundays and doing great things. He balled out of LSU. He when the first day he stepped into the NFL, he was playing. It wasn't no learning curve for a guy. He was playing because he was taught the right way in college.
Right. So I got a question for you. So as
Why
everyone,
are you smiling? Why are you
no,
smiling?
because I have a good idea what this answer is going to be, but I don't think people realize this. As good as Joe Burrow is, and he's great, right? You got a chance to be in Cincinnati with the core group that was pretty much there when you were there. A lot of those guys are still there. Like you saw a young Tyler Boyd. I know you're close with him, and I know you know how good he is as a player. You saw a young Joe Mixon there as a player. You know how good he is. Is it crazy to you to see the kind of talent that they have around them now and how good that they are now because they've only elevated since, right? You throw in a Jamar, you throw in a T. Higgins, you throw in a tight end situation. Is it crazy to you to see how much they've been able to put around those guys there now and how young they still are?
And how awesome it is that they have an indoor facility now?
Yeah.
Hey man, that indoor facility. When I got up there, and I'm looking like, okay, cool. About the first month and a half, it didn't rain at all. I'm like, okay, cool. So one day we came in, it was raining. I'm like, hey man, I don't want to sound crazy, but is the indoor on the other side of the freeway? Like, what about it? Like, bro, we don't. We probably got to go to University of Cincinnati. We should go with them. I said, well, damn. I said, y'all big casino with no indoor, like it snows on the regular here. We moving back. But back to the question. Man, Tyler Ball was my rookie. When I say I knew the kid had it. He's not a raw receiver. this dude is a football player. And Jared, you know what I mean by a guy's a football player like you.
Yeah.
You wasn't a wide receiver.
Yeah.
You was a football player. We could have put you in at quarterback in the Wildcat. We could have put you at running back and ran you outside. We could have left you at receiver. We could have put you at punts, turn with kicks. That's the type of player Tyler Boyd is. He's
Okay,
a
just let you play
football
baseball.
player. But Tyler Boyd has been nice. And dude got it. He's always open in the slot. He's got something about the slot. And the best thing about him, he's not a small guy. Tyler Boyd is 6 feet, 6'1", 195, maybe 200. And that's a big body to be in the slot. And he's got feet, he got hips, and he's always open. And the dude, Joe Mixon, the first day Joe Mixon walked in the locker room, me and A.J. Green was sitting in the locker room talking after we got through lifting weights. And Joe walked in, A.J. was like, man, that's our second round pick. And I was like, nah, bro. I said, we ain't draft no linebacker. I said, we drafted him. And Joe walked in with a white beater, some cut off black jogging sweats, some flip flops, and some white socks, with a sack over his shoulder,
like he showed up for work.
Yeah, I'm looking like, hey, I was like, that bro. I said, he's not a running back. I said, Joe is a middle linebacker because Joe Mixon is probably 6'1", 6'2", and he's probably like 235.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a big man running the ball. And I said, better block over there. I said, you got one time to run on my back, and that's it. But man, the way they have surrounded Joe with that talent is special, and it shows how much they believe in that kid. Because y'all know, like I know, we watch sports all the time. Kids like Joe don't fall into your lap every year. Those special kids like him come around once every 10 years. So when you get a kid like Joe, you get Jamar there with him. You already have Joe Mix. You already have TB there. You draft TB the year before. You already got a good nucleus. And all those guys, I want to say under the age of 26. Man, that's scary. They can find some way to trick the salary cap and pay all these guys and keep everybody together.
You just got to keep kicking the can
No,
down
salary
the road,
cap's
man.
fake, bro. Salary cap's fake. It's not real, apparently.
Fake because I'm looking at the Rams every time the Super Bowl. 60 guaranteed. So it's the way around the salary cap, but they can find a way to keep everybody happy and everybody understand their roles, man. They can have a franchise. They can be a relevant franchise and a top tier franchise for the next 2 years. Those guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate all your time. Just a few more questions. I think some of the guys have a little bit more, but I want to go back a little bit to the Tom's conversation. And obviously, I don't want to talk about how great he is, all that stuff, because I know that. But you see him towards the end of his career. He went over from Tampa, and everybody makes a joke about Tampa Tom, right? Like Tampa Tom is different than Patriot New England Tom.
Tampa Tom's going through some shit.
Hey, Tampa Tom must be going through some shit right now. I don't know what's going on with Tampa Tom, but he comes back in. Obviously, you put him on the field, he's going to play. Did you see that personality behind the scenes, and we just didn't see it as fans, or is he completely different now that he's in
Out
Tampa?
from under Belichick's thumb.
I think y'all are able to see the time having a drink where y'all able to put a cat to the back and have fun. This was the guy that was my locker mate. I saw this every day. I saw the guy coming there, taking his shirt off, flexing like I got the abs coming. I saw the guy that come in the locker room, got his beat pill, wanna listen to Jay-Z and Rick Ross all day and just hang with the fellas. I saw that. So what he's doing now, he's just doing it outside the locker room. This was time, other than the drinking, because we couldn't drink in the locker room, of course. But I'm like, Tom is funny. He's a great teammate. Like, man, Tom would sit there and talk, laugh, joke with the guys all day. That's Tom. He loved that.
So I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to have to bring it up myself. I don't think many people know about this, but when was your first time finding out about the Robert Kraft, Rick Ross great relationship that they got?
Man, I want to say. Did I tell you the story already, Jerry?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
I don't know the story. You can tell it to me.
Told me.
Man, no, man. First time I knew about the great relationship that Robert Kraft and Rick Ross had, I think we was getting ready for He was asking us like, "Hey man, who y'all want for the after party? This and that, this and that." And you know, I think at the time Wiz Khalifa was hot, Ross was hot, and it was somebody else. Wayne. It was a bunch of guys that was hot. 2 Chainz. We were just naming guys. Man, as we talking, you just and everybody started looking around like, "Damn, that's my phone ringing?" Like, nah, you know the FaceTime ringer.
Uh-huh.
My guy, it's fucking Rick Ross. He FaceTime. And I'm like, it's a different level of money. It's a different type of money. Super Bowl. Hey, the crazy thing about it, it was like people wanted Ross, people wanted Wiz. Super Bowl after party, we got Florida and Rick Ross there, and then for the ring ceremony, we got a special guest, a big cloud of smoke hitters. I'm coming with. All behind the doors come Wiz Khalifa.
He gave it to y'all. He gave you all of them. All of them.
Man, but that's when we first learned that Mr. Kraft is connected.
Yeah. I can imagine. That's
Wait, take me back to that Super Bowl a little bit, because obviously it's the famous Marshawn Lynch or Russell Wilson play whenever Tom screams like a child on the sidelines, where you can see he's visibly shocked that the Patriots win the Super Bowl. Where were y'all in kind of that moment on the sidelines? You're like, there's no way they didn't give it to Marshawn right here on what? They're inside the 5 with 3 downs to play with, and they decide to throw it. Malcolm Butler makes an excellent play. But where were y'all on the sideline in terms of an offense? Like, it's kind of nut-cutting time. We have no idea what's going to happen here.
Man, as an offense, we was over there. We was all sitting down talking. And we was just talking, I think, it was a big play that Malcolm Butler almost intercepted. And it got tipped, and I think Curse, it had tipped.
He trapped it on his body.
Yeah, and he ended up catching it. We went from, we got it to, oh, shit. Like, go again with this. So like, at that moment, we started looking at the clock, and we just started thinking, hey, man, we just scored 14 points in the last 3 minutes. Push come to shove, we'll have a little over 50 seconds, right under 50 seconds to go get 3. We can do it, because at that time we was on the road. We just had scored 14 points in 3 minutes versus the Legion of Boom. Like, come on now, like nobody was doing that. And at the end of the day, we got time. Right. We got time. We got Gronk. You're not stopping us right now. We're going to find a way to get down this field to get a 3 points. And if we get into overtime, we're going to win this game. So over on the sideline, I don't know what they was thinking, but in my mind frame, I was like, man, after he got the big pass, then Marshawn had like a little catch and run for like another like 15 yards. I'm like, God, I'm like, man, just let him score. Mm-hmm. If you let him score, you'll give us the ball with a little bit more time. Like, all we need is the ball. If you give us the ball with a minute, we down 3, we mess around and go get 7. But for sure, we getting 3. So my mind frame was let them score, let us get the ball back. But when they decided to throw that ball, I was on the sideline. I was like, man, I don't know who getting fired first. Somebody before they leave this field, because the way Marshawn Lynch was running that ball, you guys know, y'all watch football. When you got a back that runs hard like that, as the games get going, as you get in deep into those quarters, nobody want to tackle that.
Nobody want to get close to him.
Nobody. Especially at the end of the game.
And I'm looking at him, looking at some guy like he was making decisions with Dante Hightower, which Dante Hightower be bringing it. Man, this with Hightower, boom, take a stumble back and keep going. I'm looking like, ain't nobody did that to Hightower all year. So I was like, bro, just keep giving. If they would have gave Marshawn the ball, I don't know the outcome of that game. I just know we going to overtime, and from there, depending on the coin toss,
Yeah.
who wins that game.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore. They changed the rules. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh man, they had to.
They had to, especially after last year. JoJo, I appreciate you, man. One last question before you go. Obviously, we're gonna circle it back to LSU.
Who was a better coach, Bill Belichick or Les
No,
Miles?
that's not what we're asking.
I thought to give you a man from LSU.
I say, man, don't ask him.
I don't know how much you've been keeping up with the team. Obviously, the first game's this weekend. What is your prediction on the record of the team, and what do you expect to see from LSU this year? New coach, a lot of new guys. We're gonna end on that.
Man, I think we're gonna win 9 games, at least 9 games.
There you go.
Now, I think that's a good number. I think that's a good number for a new coach, and what's gonna help these guys out. You probably seen what Kelly, what he did at Notre Dame with that offense. But we got a different type of skill players here.
Yep.
So he's going to be able to do more depending on how much talent he has. It's going to depend on how much of these guys bought into his system and how fast the quarterback play is going to adapt to the system and get the guys around him playing up to his ability.
I agree. We said me and
Same
Jared
boat.
said 9.
I said 8 or 9. That's the sweet spot.
Yep.
I think 9. I think with a bowl game, they have an ability to get to a 10-win season.
Yeah. I'm putting at 9. Few games on that schedule, I just think it's hard. It's hard to just give us that win because you just with a new coach, you never know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew with our first year we was gonna win 10 games.
Yeah.
Not in the SEC. That's
Right.
come on, man. You just coach like the new guy at Florida. He did a great job at UL or whatever or not, but coming to the SEC, it's a different beast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. It's going to be interesting to see. But we appreciate it, man. This has been awesome. I'm glad we finally got you on the show. Was it about a month and a half?
Yeah, we see you in
We'll see you in about, 6 weeks?
We see you about 5-6 weeks.
Man, yeah, I'll be there. I got a guy back here I need y'all to see, man.
Who we got? Where you at?
That guy right there.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is.
Whoa! Yeah, y'all see it?
Look at him. There he
See
is.
them 2 right next to each other.
There he is.
Yeah. That's love,
Oh,
right
man.
there.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate it. We'll get you back on later on in the year.
Man, appreciate you guys. Y'all
Yep.
take it
Wait,
easy.
wait,
I'll be out
wait.
in a month and a half.
You still think about that soul you took on Thursday night against Mississippi State in 2007?
Man, I still get that. I still get tagged in that every year we play. But the crazy thing about it, when I got there, when I took off, as I got close, I thought about Matt stepping out of bounds, and I was like, if I not hit, so I up and just gave him a little shoulder. If I'd have kept going, I really could have hurt that.
Hey, it looked good, though.
Somebody's
It
gotta-
looked good.
Hey, you got to
Saved his
find
life
out
a
one
little
way
bit.
or another.
That's it. It looked good.
Give him a little touch.
Just a little shoulder check.
I feel
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in a little bit.
Appreciate you, dog.